Well, hello, welcome. Welcome to Let's Get Acquainted with Hillary Gooden, and I am Hillary Gooden. This show tonight. We're talking about March being Women's History Month. All month, I have gone forth with two other broadcasts where we featured women that I know that got a chance to share about women that they know, and so we wanted to end this month still celebrating Women's History Month. We all have our own history, but there are so many that have come before us to make what we do, uh, to make way for what we find that we're doing in our lives today. And then our lives are our history in the making for those that are becoming behind us, generations to come. And so as you come in, please do make sure that you share this broadcast, like, comment, start a watch party, and share and tag someone that would be able to get something out of this broadcast. So tonight I'm with me three young ladies, and I have Lori Gandiza, I have Shirley Patterson, and I have Nita Bashir. And I'm going to bring them out after we do. I play this commercial. So while the commercial is playing, everybody please like, comment, share, start a watch party. As you come in, let me know where you're coming in from. If you're on YouTube, you do the same thing. Just put it in the comments, and I'll be able to pick it up here and give you a quick shout out here on the Let's Get a Fit show. Are you juggling your family, your business, your career, and your health? Afraid that if just one ball drops to the ground, everything could fall apart because everybody's looking at you. You're stressed and overwhelmed. You're looking for answers for help that's real help, for solutions. I have Fiber Life Solutions that can help Hillary Gooden, the Fiber Life coach, author, speaker, the psychologist, and pastor. I empower women to reduce stress and anxiety while increasing energy clarity of mind, better sleep, better and vitality. Oh yeah, and boost your immunity. If you're ready for that, you say, you know, I need that in my life right now. Let's connect. You can reach me at www.hillarygoodin. You can direct message me on Facebook or LinkedIn at Hillary Gooden. Or else if you would like to get on a free strategy call. That free 20-minute strategy call, you can go right here to BIT. Go to bit.ly. All right, there we go. There we go. So you can go right here to bit.ly/speak with Hillary. That's for a free 20-minute clarity call. If you're somebody that needs any of that stuff that commercial talked about, then I got Vibrant Life Solutions for you. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And I'm going to bring up my guests out. And so I have me, here is Shirley Patterson, Nita Bashir, and Lori Gandiza. Yes.
Hello.
Here we are. Hello, ladies. How are you? How are you?
Hi.
Absolutely fabulous. Aloha. Aloha.
I'm good. Okay, so we got just say your name and then where you're from. So in the top right next to me, I have Miss Shirley. Let everybody know where you're from.
I am from New Jersey.
All right. Miss Nita.
Oh, I'm Nita Bashir. I'm from Oklahoma. Is that what you needed?
Yes,
I lost
and
you
Miss
for a minute
Lori,
there,
let us
Hillary.
know where you're coming in from. Okay.
Hi, aloha.
Miss Lori.
This is Lori from Hawaii.
Yeah, so we got Chicago, that's me, and New Jersey, Hawaii, and Oklahoma. It's all over the nation here. And so I'm so glad to have you ladies with me on this final Women's History Month celebration. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. Uh, Before we get started, we got people that are coming in already. We're going to say hello to them, walk them out. And I hope everybody can hear me okay tonight. So we have, who do we have here, Shirley?
Tandra Price says hello. I hope
Hey, Miss Tandra, let us know where you're coming in from. You did. Thank you for coming in. Miss Nita, who we have here coming up next?
And we have Laverne Roberts from Illinois.
Yes. Hey, Elder Robin, so good to see you. And so we're thankful for you guys coming on in. And we're going to go ahead and get started with our topic tonight. So again, this is Women's History Month. And this all started back in 1908. 1908, the women decided, you know what, we need to do something about our rights. So it didn't just start in the 70s. It started way back. And they, with their protesting and demanding their rights and coming together, they ended up getting what's called International Women's Day. So it's not just in the United States, it's all over the world. And that's celebrated. They decided to celebrate it one day a year on the same date everywhere, which is March 8th. And I got an opportunity to be a speaker on this another platform called Clubhouse that did a International Women's Day speakers, and it was really good to be on that panel. And so then, as they continue on, they said, you know what, we want to make this whole month. They had to choose a month, get together, say when we're going to do this, and they decided on March. So every year it's national here in the United States, National Women's History Month, where we get a chance to celebrate and remember and just get the word out, to let people know about the fight that was fought. There are a lot of fights that have gone on for the rights of people of all different kind of persuasions, right? All different types of groups of people. But this was for women, not just one persuasion of women, but all women. So that's why I'm so glad to have you all on here tonight. And that's our reason for being here. they choose a theme every year. The theme for this year is coming up on the screen. Uh, the theme for this year is they have a hashtag choose challenge. And I want to just kind of throw that around so that we can discuss it. Their idea was from challenge comes change. And so when you hear that, choose to challenge, because when you challenge something, challenge whether it's a community, a school, your on your job, whatever it is, change usually comes from challenge, right? So what are your thoughts? And I'll start with you, Shirley. What are your thoughts? I'm going to start with you, Shirley. Let us know what your thoughts are. And each one of us is going to get a chance to just have a little something to say about what we think about challenge. From challenge comes change.
Well, you caught me off guard.
Okay, well, you know what? I want to say this. Have you ever had a challenge in your life?
Of course, yes.
And from
I
that
had,
challenge, you experienced what kind of change?
I'm sorry.
From that challenge, did you experience some kind of change behind that challenge?
Yes. From the
Absolutely. We all
challenges,
have.
that I've experienced, the change was strength
Mm.
and
Mhm.
determination. Um, the challenge that I faced, one of the challenges that I faced was coming out of an abusive relationship. And the change that happened was I found me again.
Mm.
I
Wonderful.
found, because sometimes you can get lost in, other people's um, definition of being in a marriage. And so you lose yourself
Oh, wow.
sometimes. And so when I started transitioning on getting out of it, it it gave me the strength to deal with other things that had come up in my life. So for me, that's the change that happened through that particular challenge in my life.
Yeah. And I like what you said when people have their definition of who you are to be, and then you have to find yourself all over again
Mhm.
afterwards, at some
Yes,
point. And women a lot of times just give so much that that's what happens to a lot of us. It happened when I was married. I felt the same thing. And the other thing that came to me not long after I had gotten married was, why didn't somebody tell me about this?
yes,
I had a whole lot of comments and stuff, but nobody told me about that.
right.
Yes, I loved it. So Miss Nita, let's hear, what are your thoughts when you hear choose to challenge, and from challenge comes change?
Well, first of all, I think life is a challenge. And if you meet the challenge that life gives us, you're going to change. And
Hmm.
I did not
Mm-hmm.
come out of an abusive relationship. I came out of a very loving relationship, but he died. And when he died, I lost my identity, like
Mm.
because I was no longer a wife. I mean, in my
Mm.
heart I was, but in reality I wasn't. And
Hmm.
a lot of people still saw me as a wife, even though,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I had to figure out who I am, and we all change as we go through life and whatever happens in life. And I'm not the same person I was, but yes, I have found my determination again. I had determination before, but I found it again, and I found my courage to
Hmm.
try new things and to step
Yeah,
out and do something different.
Hmm.
Yeah.
that's wonderful. And that's why I really just love this show, Get Acquainted. I just met Shirley, I just met Shirley. I saw you being interviewed by Lotus Richey on her show, and she said, "You
Mm-hmm.
know what? Reach out to her because I think she'd be a great guest for what you're talking about." I was like, "Oh, good." And right away, you was like, "Yes, let's do it." And then Miss Nita, I met Miss Nita at a speakers conference
Mm-hmm.
at a speakers conference in Columbus, Ohio, that we both went to
Mm-hmm.
get deposited into by the big dreamer Greg Walker, and so that was a really good thing. And so I met a new friend who, because I never even been to Oklahoma. I've been to New Jersey one time, and I drove through there going to a conference. Then there's Miss Lori. I met Miss Lori also through Naturally Plus, this company that deals with wealth, and health and wealth wellness. And she was also interviewed on a different show with Lotus Richey that I'm a co-host on. And I was like, man, I really like her spirit. When I do this, I'm gonna have Lori to come on. And she was like, yes, let's do it. So Miss Lori, we'd like to hear, what are your thoughts? Choose to challenge, and from challenge comes change.
Wow, that's such a incredible and challenging question, only because so many things come to my mind and my heart. Because, as Anita said, life is so full of challenges. And
Mm-hmm.
when I think about it, I go back to the most difficult challenge that I had in my entire life. And that was way back in the 70s. Hello. Of course, obviously, I overcame it. But my divorce was the most devastating thing in my life. I ended up in the hospital. I lived in New Jersey at the time, and they had to sedate me for 2 days because they thought I was going to die. They
Wow.
actually they actually called Hawaii and said to prepare my funeral. That's how bad it was. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, hello, I overcame, right? So
Yes, yes.
uh, so the thing is this for me. What happened was I had three little children,
Mm-hmm.
and they were all under the age of 4. And their father never gave a red penny to support them financially nor emotionally, but that was okay because that's who he was. I
Mm-hmm.
learned, I learned to be uh, the breadwinner. I learned to be, the provider and all of that. But anyway, the greatest gift that I had was when I came out of that sedation. I asked God, I said, why am I alive? When you're going through such devastation, you don't want to live, but you don't want to kill yourself either. You don't want to die. You don't want to commit suicide.
Right.
You just don't want to be in that situation. So I asked God, I said, so why am I here? And this is the gift. Okay, Hillary. The gift was, he said, your three children. And as I speak, I want to tear because
Yes.
in the recesses of my mind and my heart, in the bottom of the being of my soul, was a thought of my children.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I had
Mhm.
to live. And that's why I'm here today. So I'm a
Yes.
72-year-old grandmother, wife, great grandmother. Hallelujah. And that's my story.
All right.
I love it. I love it. I love it. When I heard determination, or you got yourself, you found yourself again. Yes, I want to say hello first. We have Miss Pat Rogers in the house. Everybody, this is Pat Rogers. She's the visibility coach. She's
Hello,
just a
Pat.
little powerhouse that I love as well. So hello, hello, hello.
Hello,
I
Pat.
believe she's now in Atlanta. And then she said, challenge. What did she say here? Miss Lori,
Challenge.
read this next comment that's coming in. It's coming up kind of slow, but it'll
Well,
be there.
Patricia Rogers says
Oh, there it
challenge,
is.
change.
Yes.
Yeah.
Challenges will change you, will change your circumstances. Just hearing, I felt the same way when I came out of my marriage. And then, feeling like, and I probably wasn't married as long as maybe you guys were, but still, I had just so submerged myself because I thought it was going to be for life, forever, and then it turns out it wasn't. And And it was like, you know what? Before I actually really, really lose myself, because I don't want to lose myself, it's not too late.
Mm-hmm.
It still was a challenge, because my challenge was, I want to stay because I promised God. I made a vow before God to stay in
Mm-hmm.
this marriage, and that meant everything to me. But then God began to give me directions that He
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have me to be in an abusive, and it wasn't abusive physically, but you can be abused emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that is just as bad when it's physical abuse, because it creates great damage, if you stay in it too long. And so I'm
Absolutely.
thankful as well, because yes, I found myself, and I'm was happy about being single again for me, and I'm still single right now, but who knows, God's not done with me yet. So I want to say, give you an opportunity to maybe say a little something else about this being Women's History Month. And there are so many women that have gone before us and that have affected our lives. And so I don't for you, for each one of you, there may be a woman that's in your family, somebody you worked with, or it could be, not, it could be anybody. I have found from talking to different people this month. And so I'm going to give you an opportunity after we come through the comments, so we can shout out those that are coming in, chiming in, and then just think about who who has influenced your life, that has made an impact, that you have notable, remarkable memories of. And so let's go to the comments again. And I see here, my computer is working a little slow today, but that's okay. It's working. So, Miss Shirley, what we got? Who we have here saying?
Laverne Roberts. He says, "Hello,
Yes,
everyone."
yes. She is a wonderful person. She was on the last show, actually. And then we got another comment here. Miss Lori, can you get this one?
Well, this is from Shalitha Gordon. She said, "You look great for 72." You know what? It's all the makeup.
Yes.
It's all the makeup.
It's
Thank
not,
you,
Wonderful.
don't
guys.
believe
No,
her.
it's not. We're
Don't
witness.
believe her. She was beautiful before she put the makeup
Yes.
on.
I
Thank you for
know.
that.
Beautiful.
Thank you for that.
Miss
Wonderful.
Nita, and Miss Shalitha is my cousin. So, hey, cuz, thank you for coming in tonight. Uh, then, Miss Nita, can you get Patricia's comment?
Sure. Patricia Rogers says, "I am here, and how are you all?"
Great.
We are
Yes,
very well.
Great.
everybody's doing wonderful. Get our aloha's going on.
Aloha.
And we got one. Yes, I love it. We got one more comment here. And this is from Shalita. And she said, "Hi, Hillary. I'm enjoying and learning from this show." And that's something, thank you so much. That's something that I always say, that there's always more to learn. And that's a part of what this celebration of Women's History
Mm.
Month is all about. There's always more to learn, even with history, because we're not always told all of the history that has happened. So you're constantly learning even from that. Um, so are we ready? I was trying to find my question so you'll see it and kind of let me see. Give me oh, there it is. Okay, so this is the question that we're getting ready to just do a little round table on. Each one of us get an opportunity to have our say. And so we'll start with Miss Nita this time. As you see the question come up.
She's putting me on the hot
Uh-oh.
seat.
There it
You
is.
got it.
Oh,
You got
yes.
it.
You like the hot seat.
Oh yeah. What is the
So,
challenge that drives me to see change as a result of my efforts?
Yes.
What is the challenge?
What is the challenge that drives me to see change as a result of my? I think the challenge is to reach widows, especially widows over 50, so that they can step out and live in their life. And I think that's my challenge, is to find these women so that I can talk to them and they can share their journey and help other women, so that we can all live life. And I think that's the change I would like to see, is that for women, everyone really, but especially for women and widows, to live life fully and to enjoy everything that life has to offer. Because our husband died, we didn't, and we need to be
Yeah.
able to keep living, and that's a challenge, because a lot of women want to, like Shirley said, they don't necessarily want to die; they just want to quit. And I think that is it,
Yeah.
is to find those women and convince them to not quit, that there is a reason for them to keep going.
Right.
There you
Yes.
go.
So let me ask you, how is that going? Have, as a result of your efforts, have you seen that it is being a real blessing to other women that are seeing the point that you're trying to make?
I have. I mean, not a lot, because I've just sort of started this, but I wrote a book called Beyond the Grief, a Widow's Survival Guide, and
Wow.
there's been several women that have
Yeah.
read that and then commented that it helped them, and that's just mostly getting
Okay, good.
through. Getting through. It's not for like,
Yeah.
but it's mostly for getting through the, like, we call it the widow fog. The first year or two, when you're
Mm,
just basically putting one foot in front of the other. And then, yeah,
yeah.
I have talked to several widows, and they're like, wow, I never thought of it that way. And that always makes me smile, that I gave them another way to
Yeah.
think something. Yes.
Yeah. And I thought it was interesting when I asked you, you said, I'm a coach. I said, well, what kind of coach? You said, well, I'm a widow's life coach. And it's so amazing, and it's so beautiful when you know what your lane is, and this is where I operate the best. This is where where God has given me this mantle,
Mhm.
and I'm
Right.
wearing it proudly to help other people. I'm going forth into the world to help those women that I know because I've been there. I know because I am there.
Right.
Amen.
And that's a blessing. And
And
you know what, Nita?
yeah.
We getting acquainted. I saw you had a date. That you had posted that you went on a little virtual date. I was like, oh, Nita, yay!
I didn't go on that.
Yeah, you had a little virtual date that you had posted.
Oh,
And it's been
okay.
a little. I think it was around Valentine's Day or something, maybe. And I was
Probably,
like,
yeah.
oh, that is so wonderful. You
Mhm.
know,
It was a virtual day. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, just have fun with it. And when I first started on this, not the widow journey, but when I first started trying to reach out to other widows, a lot of people would say things like, "Oh, that's really good. You could help younger widows." Like, I could, but younger widows, like, I mean, Shirley and Lori weren't widows, but they had children. My children were grown. I really don't know how to relate to a widow who's trying to raise her children. I can help
Mm,
her in some ways, but that's not really my lane. And
mm,
it took a
hmm
long time for me to say, no, it doesn't matter what other people say. This is where you are. These are the people
yes,
you can. But so
yeah.
yeah, now I know where my lane is, as you say.
And that makes the challenge not as great as it would be if you were trying to reach out to people that you're not really called to. That would be
mm,
even more challenging, you
Exactly.
know. And so it's good where you can get that clarity, where you can get that clarity, and then you can move and operate from there. And I know that there are women that need what you have to offer. And your book, can they get your book on Amazon, or do you have a website for your book?
Yeah, the book is available on Amazon, and if they wanted
And
to
say that.
if they wanted to talk to me about coaching, they can contact me on my Facebook page, which is Unshackled Life, because we are no longer shackled by grief.
And the book was named Beyond the Grief.
Beyond the Grief, A Widow's Survival Guide.
I love that. You know, because like I was saying, I needed a survival guide coming into marriage. I said some things nobody ever told me this stuff. I don't know if I would have signed up for it if I had known some of the things that happened. But that's part of the challenge. A widow's. Let me see. I'm putting this here. A widow's, so people can see it. Survival guide. I love that. And then we're gonna go next to Miss Lori. And the question was, let me get my question here. I was trying to put this up here first, so people can see it. Oh, my computer's acting up crazy. Did it go up? It's coming up next.
It's up.
Okay, Beyond the Grief, A Widow's Survival Guide, and it's by Nita Bashir.
Exactly.
Wonderful lady.
Thank you, Hillary.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm trying to find my question. You're so welcome. So then Lori Gandiza, the question, it should be coming up pretty soon there. What is the challenge? What is the challenge that drives you to see change as a result of your efforts?
Okay, so the challenge obviously was to, get on with my life, to start taking care of what I needed to do. I had to come home to Hawaii from New Jersey and find a job. But ultimately, what happened was, and I was sharing this with Shirley and Nita earlier, was that the Lord took the most devastating thing in my life, which was my divorce, and turned it around to be the greatest blessing. Because what happened was I was able to teach a divorce recovery group for over 20 years in a church. And we were able to help hundreds of people to recover and overcome the devastation of a breakup in marriage. And we also had children's recovery. So it's just amazing. And I still am in touch with you. We're friends today. And we're still connected to one another and keeping in touch with one another. And people have gone on and got married. Some of them got married to other people in the group. And I would tell them, I said, listen, I said, this is not a pickup place, okay? So be careful. But anyway, God takes the ashes into and make it beautiful. So there's a scripture in the Bible that says he brings ashes to beauty, and that's what he's done for my life. And I am so blessed to have been able to meet hundreds of people and their children. And I'm still in touch with the children. Now they're adults, they're married, they have their own children. It's just amazing and a blessing.
Yeah. And I love that you said you reached out to the group was for the parents, for the spouses, but the left behinds, I imagine. And then it was also for the needs of the children. A lot of times the children are, I don't know, they just kind of, well, they'll get by, they'll get through it. But that's amazing that you were able to include them in whatever ways that you did. And like you said, now they're adults, and those seeds that were planted go with them. So I think that was really awesome. So you said you're a wife, a mother, a grandmother, and a great grandmother. And I said, great grandmother. So let's tell us how many children, how many grandchildren.
Oh dear. Oh no. Now you would have to ask me. That's the most difficult question tonight. Are you kidding me? I have to keep count.
That's a challenge.
Yeah, that is a challenge. I have to count. I have to go. Okay, because this is my second marriage. So he had 4 children and I had 3 children. And they have it's just a whole conglomerate. We just have a bunch of grandchildren and a bunch of great grandchildren. And we're just a family that has, they call it blended, but I don't like that word blended because it sounds
Mm,
like, I don't know, we put in a blender and we kind of mix up. No, 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 no. We are a family.
right.
We are a family.
And
Yeah.
I don't like saying half step and all. They're my children, they're my grandchildren, and so it's a
Yeah.
family. Yeah. Yeah. And I just want
That's
to say
wonderful.
real quick about the children recovery. Um,
Yes.
I asked one night I was talking to the children in the divorce recovery, and I asked the children, I said, we had separate teaching, okay, but I was with them that evening, and I asked the children, I said, what is the good thing that is coming out from this divorce with your parents? What are
Mm,
you happy about? And do you know, three of the children from the same family, they said they're happy that they don't see their parents argue anymore.
mm,
That was
Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
afraid, they were scared, they didn't know what was going to
mm,
happen to them. They were so insecure because of the yelling and the screaming and the arguing. So it really was a very insecure situation. So when that was removed, they
Yeah.
then felt some sense of security. I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah. I can relate to that because my mother and father, when they were, I guess beginning to realize this is not going to work out, there were a lot of arguments, and it can make a child feel uneasy because you just don't know what's happening. You're not hearing everything, but you hear the arguments. So it just sounds really bad when sometimes they've made some decisions about, okay, this just not going to work. But I just love the fact that you said this is something that was done within your church settings, and more churches need to have um, outreaches, that reach for congregants in different modes, in different areas specific, like those that are divorced. Then you have those, because you hear about the singles and you hear about the couples, but what about those that are divorced? It's just something different. The widows, it's just something different, you know. And so, yes, I thank you sharing that. And I remember the story now, and I think it's just great. And more churches need to take that on, and not to forget the children because they do grow up to be adults.
mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And
And
parents.
so, yes, for our guests, for our audience members, uh, I don't know if you're related. If you're related to any of these, if you're resonating with any of these comments so far, just give us a little post in the comments, letting us know that if it's resonating with you. Give me a 5 in the comments. That's what I say, just so we can see how you're feeling about this. Or if you have any comments about challenges where you've seen change come as a result that you would like to share, you can put it in the comments, and we love to see what you have to say as well. And so now we're on to Miss Shirley. And Miss Shirley, the question is still the same. What is the challenge that drives you? I'm going to bring it up so we can get it clear here. What is the challenge that drives you to see change as a result of your efforts?
Well, again, realizing that after divorce, there is life. There's life after divorce,
Yes,
and you can begin again. And
yes,
not just for divorced people who may have been in a situation where they were being abused by their spouse, but people who are just in relationships in general, you know,
yes,
um, being able to reach out to those women and letting them know that first the healing has to come because it took a long time for the healing to happen,
yes,
not just with me, but with my children as well. As Laura was saying, we can't leave out the children because it affects
that's
them.
right.
We don't think it affects them, but it
Mm,
takes a toll on them. And my children were young at the
Mm,
time. So it really took a toll on them as well. So as a result, I am in the process of launching my coaching business as well. Um, and it's just, basically geared towards women who have been in those type of situations, and not just women, like I said, being in a marriage, but in a relationship point, period, that, you find
Okay.
yourself
Yeah.
not knowing how to get out, you know, and just,
Yeah.
being able to show them strategies and ways on how to make it out, because some
Mhm.
situations are more detrimental than others. And you
That's
definitely
true.
have to have a strategy on how to get out of that situation without any casualties. So, that's my challenge.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. So, have you wrote a book,
Yes.
and your book is here. You're supposed to hear how I made it over the secret place.
Mhm.
What do you mean by the secret place?
Well, during that particular experience in my life, you know, it really brought me closer to God, because I had to seek God on how to get myself and my children out of that particular situation without any severe casualties. Because
Yeah.
when God, when the end of it was almost over, there was a particular incident where we literally were held hostage in our own home,
Mm.
and with the threats of that no one was going to get out. And so
Wow.
I had to really pray in that moment, just call on Jesus, call on his name, and
Yes.
he brought us
Yes.
out. There were,
Yes.
my son had to suffer some bruises on the way out, but we did get out.
Mm.
And so the book is really dealing with how God brought me and my children through, my experience of
Yeah.
abuse, divorce, and depression.
Hmm.
And that's pretty much, what my book is about.
Okay. So, with your coaching, are you're mainly going to be dealing with the women, or
Yes.
if any of it will be with the children? You think?
Um, I hadn't thought about that idea, but that's something that I can incorporate, because that is important,
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's
especially women
amazing. And
who
your
may have.
stories are. Go ahead.
I was saying, especially with women who may have children in that particular
Hmm.
situation.
Yeah, because we don't want to forget that the children they can be traumatized as well. And
Yes.
like you said, to come out of it with the least amount of damage, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But that emotional thing and that fear, it's very
Mm-hmm.
real. If it's real to the wife, it's real to the children, especially when they're smaller, when they're younger.
Yes.
I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they don't know how to deal with that or what to do with the feelings. And if nobody helps them through it, it can be just something that gets pushed down and
Mm-hmm.
follows them all the rest of their lives and into their relationships. What do you guys think
Absolutely.
about that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I'm just so thankful that you guys were you ladies shared your stories with us. And I want to see. I got Miss Shalita is making comments, so we don't want to let's see. We want to address her as well. She's been trying to get on the broadcast for a while now, and I'm so glad that she was able to come in on this one. And so we're going to just put up so we can engage her as well. And so here, I'll take this one. She said, "So glad that all you ladies overcame your adversity." And that's what this Women History Month is about.
Mm-hmm.
How these women got over. They fought for us to have the right to vote as women, the
Mm-hmm.
right to have equal pay. And we're still dealing with this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right now in the news, they're talking about the women soccer players having equal pay with the male
Mm-hmm.
soccer players. And it's like we are winning championships all over the world, and
Mm-hmm.
our numbers are exceeding theirs in some cases, and yet they make more than us. It's still not right. The fight is not over. The challenge is still a challenge, and so we're going to see some change, some more change, because women, sometimes we have to fight for it, right? Sometimes we have to fight for the change that we want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Miss Lori, you want to take, I think, well, Miss Shirley, you want to take this comment?
Miss Gordon says having a large, loving, close knit family is such a blessing. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's just me and my mom and my brother. Small family. Okay, Miss Lori.
You want me to read this next comment?
Yes, yes.
Okay. This comes from
Oh,
Shalika,
this is
from
no.
Miss
I,
Jordan.
well, go ahead and read it, but I think this one was for Miss Shirley.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Shirley.
So glad God rescued you and your children from that abusive relationship. Amen.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, absolutely. Then we have Miss Angela Elton
And
just coming in from DC. Hey, Angie, so glad to see you. And
Hello.
she just gave us all a shout out. Said, hey, ladies. Yeah, she's always so supportive, and I appreciate Angie so much. Yes. And so now we're down to the last question, the best question,
uh-oh.
where is we're talking about, and I didn't get a chance to write it in the comments, so I'm going to just have to say it. And it is based on your history. Based on your history, who are the women that influenced you that made a real impact on your life? Who wants to go first? I'm gonna put somebody. You know what? I'll let. We got a few people in that's listening. Who should go first? Should it be Shirley? If Shirley, we're gonna put a number one. If it should be Nita, number two, and if it should be Miss Lori, number three, in the comments. Shirley one, Nita two, and Miss Lori number three for the hot seat. There she is, Miss Lori. I'm gonna take some. Take some of these comments here. we got we got this. We're gonna see who's gonna be the first one to take this last question.
Loaded.
Yeah, there she is, Lotus. Hey, we're so glad to see you coming in from Washington D.C. And look at she said she loves the hot seat. She don't like to be in the hot seat, but she loves the hot. So she says, what she said here, put them in the hot seat. All right, so I see two. That's you, Miss Nita. I see
Yay!
one for Miss Shirley, and then I see one for Miss Lori. You trying to make me to be the okay, Miss Laverne. You don't have to be the tiebreaker. You have to put one for Shirley, two for Nita, or three for Lori. We're gonna put this on Miss Laverne Roberts.
I think I
Which number do you choose?
didn't you, Shirley? Didn't you see a 3?
Yes.
I did see 1 3.
I
I saw
see
one
one
one,
three.
1 2, and 1 3. That means there's a tie. I gotta have Miss Laverne. Come on now. If she don't do it, I'm gonna have to choose by going any money more. It used to work, and I think it still works today. So I don't know if she heard me. So I'm gonna go ahead. Here we go. 1, 2, or 3. So we got eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a title by its toe. If he holler, let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. That's gonna be you, Miss Nita. And so
No, what's the question
the
again?
question is, okay, based on your history, who have been the women that have influenced you and impacted your life the most?
That is
Oh,
really
she said three, but it's too late now.
Oh, I will concede and let Lori answer. Okay, you want me to
No,
go ahead?
I already did it, so we got to go ahead now.
Okay. I always tell people if somebody asks that I come from a long line of strong women. My great grandmother traveled across. She didn't travel that far, but she traveled from Texas to Arkansas with an infant child to get away from her former in-laws because her husband died during the Civil War, and her in-laws were trying to take the baby away from her.
Mhm.
And then her daughter traveled with 3 children to California. One of them was an infant because her husband was, he wasn't really the best. He didn't abuse or anything, but he drank and he gambled, and according to family lore, he womanized. So, she takes her 3 kids and took them to safety. And then her daughter was married to a man much like her father, and she said, "No, I'm not doing this." And she raised her 2 kids. And then my mom, she married a good guy, but he had some mental illness, and so she had to deal with that. And so, I just come from a long line of women who are strong, and draw a lot from that. And then a lot of times it's people that I see in the news. I know I was very impressed with, let me think of her name, Lisa Niemi, who is Patrick Swayze's wife. And he was, she was on a show one day, and somebody after his death promoting a book, and somebody said, "Oh, you look so pulled together." And she said, "Yeah, an hour ago I was a crying mess." And I thought she summed up widows so well, because behind closed doors we're a crying mess, but when we come out, by golly, we look good.
We look good. I love that. You see, I come from a strong line of a strong line, but from a line of strong women. And that makes you want to keep that strongness going forward. You don't want to be the one to drop the ball on being strong.
It's like, that's not me. Yeah, I think
you don't want to be the one to take the rap for that.
Yeah. So I think
that's
Lori's
awesome. Well, now I'm gonna have fun with this again. So now we got the hot seat again. We got the hot seat again. Lori, let me see what Miss Lotus said here, and then we're gonna pull up this hot seat between Miss Lori and Miss Shirley, and who's gonna be the one next. She says, "Wow, I just shared in over 5 groups. You can too. Thanks. Thank you so much, Miss Lori. Because Miss Lotus. We want people to hear what these women have had to say tonight, and are still saying. So, Miss Shirley 1, Miss Lori 2. Who goes in the hot seat next? And Miss Nita, you can't vote. So, we got a 1 for Miss Shirley and a 2. I know, and 2 for Miss Lori. 1 for Shirley in the comments, 2 for Miss Lori in the comments, and let's see who's going to answer our question next. This has been a really great time. I've really enjoyed each one of you, and and just getting acquainted. That's what this show is all about. Outside of Women's History Month, getting acquainted with women that I have come across on social media or out here in real, in my life offline. And it's just amazing because sometimes you don't have these kind of conversations where you ask specific things and you never know what you might find out. So I see 1, 2, that's Miss Lori. And Lotus says she loves it. And then, you know what? Miss Lotus voted for you twice, Miss Shirley.
She didn't even Lotus.
She voted for you the last time. So here we go with a tie. Who's out there that can break this tie? I gotta have at least 1 more vote. 1 for Miss Shirley, 2 for Miss Lori. Just 1 more vote will break the tie. And so And so, yeah, so this is ending it. I'm gonna wait till I get that vote too. I see some people out there. So put a one in the comment for Miss Shirley. We're talking about the hot seat. The hot seat. Miss one for Miss Shirley and two for Miss Lori.
I think
Yes,
Miss Lori
there
gonna
it is.
win.
There it is. I think she
See,
did. I see a number two.
I told you she was gonna win.
Now that wasn't
There
fair,
it is.
Shirley.
There it is.
You told her to vote for me. I know you did.
Wait a minute. So they trying to make this another tie again, but that broke it. Cause all right, cause then Miss Laverne came around and she would have chosen you, number one, Miss Shirley. But we already got that tie broken. Yes, and so let's see one more comment before Miss Lori gives her comment, her statement. It said
Look,
voted under my nickname, Shirley. Yes. Okay, so here we go. I didn't have this question written out, so I'll say it again. The question is based on your history, who are the women in your life that have had great influence and impacted your life the most? Miss Lori.
Oh, Hillary, in asking that question, it brought me back to the 1980s when I was an entrepreneur. I still am an entrepreneur. And we would have meetings every Mondays, and it would be about 300 of us, 8 o'clock in the morning at the one of the hotels in Waikiki. And that was one of our questions.
Ah,
Yeah, it was a woman. What woman influenced you? And the first person that came to my heart and mind was Margaret Thatcher.
Mm.
And the reason
mm,
why it was Margaret Thatcher is because in those days, back in the 70s and in the 80s, she was a very powerful leader. And
yes.
she actually did a lot of, she just went through a lot of war. She fought for her country and she made some amazing changes. And I thought she was just an amazing, strong, determined, had such clarity on what she wanted to do in her life. And her husband was so behind her. And although he was in his own right very successful, he always allowed her to be on the platform and do what she was birthed to do. And although she had a bit of struggle with her children, sometimes when a woman is that powerful, especially worldwide, the children sometimes have a difficult time adjusting to that type of situation. But one of the things I loved about Margaret Thatcher, as I was reading about her in those days, I seen a magazine photo of her right by a motorcycle, and I'm like a motorcycle girl, okay? And I loved it, and that made me fall in love with her even more. And so I did do a little, reading on her autobiography and that sort of thing. And then the other woman that really interested me was Catherine the Great. And I found out that my daughter also was inspired by Catherine the Great, from Russia. And she did a lot of things for Russia. Although Russia, was to be our enemy, I really liked her tenacity. And, uh, she kind of was she had a little bit of stuff going on because she did have a lover. I thought, oh, hello, you know. So I got to know the human side of her. Although she's very powerful, she too went through many wars and was successful in her right. And then another woman that I thought about is Deborah in the Bible. She's a judge, and she helped win wars. And if it weren't for Deborah, the judge, the men would have not made it in the war. Okay, you can read about it in the Bible. But the greatest woman for me, is my mother. She went home to glory last December, the 20th of December, at the age of
Mm,
95.
Mm.
And my mother led by example. She was not a woman of many words, but I learned tenacity. I learned perseverance. I learned how to overcome obstacles. My mother was such an amazing woman. And not only was she amazing, she was beautiful and she was bright. Uh, anyway, she was my mother is from Hawaii, but then she married a man from the Philippines. They moved back to the Philippines because he wanted to build a house there. She became the queen of the city that she lived in. They had a huge party for her. My mother was the president of this culinary club. I mean, she was just an amazing woman. So these women in my life, I look to and I gain respect for them, even if they had some colorful backgrounds, some of them, and I learned from them on how to be the woman I want to be. I want to be strong. I want to have clarity. I want to be. I want to be loving. Number one, and I want
Yeah.
to be all that I can be for the people before I go to glory. I don't know. I hope that makes.
Yes. Oh, that was
Exactly.
that was really full. And that's, and Margaret Thatcher, for those who are not familiar with her, she was the what was the title? What do they call them? They don't call him the president over there
She
in the
was the prime
UK.
minister, wasn't she?
Prime Minister, right?
Yeah,
Prime
she's
Minister of
prime
the
minister,
of Great Britain.
British, Britain,
Yes.
Great Britain.
And
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's something you were talking about, Deborah, in the Bible. I was we were talking to this guy, a prophet, not that long ago, and he was saying to myself and my mom, he said, "You both carry the Deborah's anointing." So I was like, "Okay, I've heard of Deborah in the Bible, but let me go look it up." And for those of you that need to look it up, it's in Judges chapter
judges,
4 and 5.
right.
The only places they talk about Deborah is in those two chapters. But she was really, like Lori said, she was a leader's leader, and she was
Hillary,
a judge.
she was
And it was
also
so amazing.
go. Yeah,
Go
sorry to
ahead.
interject, but she was like the Joan of Arc.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah,
But she gave this. She was. They had this evil ruler that just had them oppressed for a long time, and it was time. God, it was time for him to go. And so Deborah, she got the word from the Lord, and she told Barak, that was
yeah,
the guy's name, right? She told Barak, this
yeah.
is the order from the Lord, God's decree, and you need to go take a legion of men with you and go and take this man down, take him out. And Barak said, I'll go if you go with me.
That's right.
Mhm.
And he said, how many times have you been in situations like that where you tried to let somebody be the one, but then they, because of your strength, and you got strength, but you want others to be strong. But sometimes they just
Mhm.
like, they come with me. And I know if you have children, you want to build them up so that they can get to that place when they're out here in this world, that they can be strong, that they can be leaders and not followers, and just be all that God's created them to be. And she told him, she said, listen, this battle, I'll go with you. She said, but God's going to give this
Mhm.
man over into a woman's. And that's just what happened. He
Mhm.
didn't care. He
Yeah,
just didn't want to go without her because he felt like she got that direct contact with God, and I'm not going unless you go with me. I'm in a situation I've been in like that, but
Absolutely.
you still
yeah.
have to walk in your strength and walk in
Yeah,
your the power that God has given you. And sometimes people, they put you on a level as though you're not human. You don't have cries and tears that come out of your eyes over things, that you don't have challenges
Mhm.
that you need to overcome. And so when you're being strong, it's so important that you said at the end of that I am strong. I'm tenacious,
Nation.
tenacious. And I want to be all of that, but I want to also be loving.
Mhm.
you know. And love is what is the key of all that can take us all so far
Mhm.
forward in our lives and our destinies, as well as not just only as women, but in who God called us to be in whatever state that is.
Mhm.
So So thank you so much for sharing that. I really
Yes.
appreciate hearing all of those women that you have influenced you. Wow. So now we're down to you, Miss Shirley. It's time for you to answer the same question. So I'm gonna repeat it so that you can, let us hear your thoughts. So based on your history, who are the women that have influenced you in your life that has made great impact?
I can say that it was my mom. My mother she made a great impact in my life. And here's the thing, it was after her transition that she made
Oh,
that big impact in my life. And I say that because she was such a humble person. Um, she opened her door to strangers. She opened her door to, people who were in need. And at the time
mm-hmm,
when I was young, I didn't understand like why would you is this it's like she would give her very last, and she didn't complain. I never heard my mother complain.
Mm.
And I never knew growing up that she was a missionary who had other young missionaries under her who she trained. And I didn't know the story until after she transitioned. And one of the women that she mentored told me this beautiful story about her. But how she
oh wow,
impacted me was I used to watch my mother pray. She was a woman of God, just a very strong woman of God. Loved her family, did everything for her family. But one of the things that I carried was when I was going through what I was going through, I remembered how I used to come in the house, when I was hanging in the clubs and coming in, trying to sneak in the house. But I would always peek in her room, and she would always be on her knees crying out to God and praying for her children. So
mm-hmm,
when I began to go through my experience, I look back and say, you know, I know everyone say like, what would Jesus do? And I just began to say, what would my mom do? And I
mm-hmm,
began to look back and see how she would always pray. She would always be on her knees, seem like to each and every one of her children would come safely back home in the house. So that's what was a big impact for me, that I learned how to pray my way through what I was dealing with at that very moment. So she was
yeah,
that really strengthened me, that carried me. And just to see her, just to hear her gentle voice, she would speak to you. Because she was a woman of like, she didn't speak, a lot. She was very quiet, but she didn't beat us over the head with the Bible. She didn't tell us we had to do A, B, and C. Her life was, she lived her life, and that's how I learned from her. She wasn't
mm,
loud, but she was gentle. And so that's the impact that my mom had on me when I was going through what I was going through. And I always still look back today and I thank God for her because she led by experience. She led by
yes,
example. And I could say that the cleaning lady at my job, she's beautiful soul. She's almost, I think, 80 years old. And I just watch her. I watch how she has so much energy and how she moves throughout the building. And she really encourages me because
mm-hmm,
I look at her strength. I look at this lady and she gets down on her knees and she makes sure things are cleaned and wiped and I'm really inspired by her. She gives me the strength and the courage to say, you know what? If she can do it, I know I can do this. You know, she
Yes.
she hasn't missed a day in the 3 years, maybe one time because she had a surgery, but she hasn't missed a day within those 3 years that she's been there. And she never comes in without a smile. No matter what is going on, she always keeps that smile on her face. So those are the two women really that really have made such a profound impact in my life. And I really appreciate
Yeah.
that.
That's wonderful. That is really wonderful. I'm just, just I loved each story tonight, and I know that those that are watching, that are still on watching live, we appreciate you, and we appreciate those of you that are going to be replay viewers. Thank you so much as well for coming in, and you can leave your comments as well because we'll be glad to also come back and address your comments. And so,
Mhm.
ladies, this comes down, we've gone past the hour. I hadn't even realized it. We're at 7:16 here in Chicago, but that's okay because I wanted us to each have our, for each of you to have your say and to just share, you know, because sometimes we don't even think about giving um, giving that praise to someone that has blessed our life, you
Mhm.
know. And I think that's why they have something like this because we want to remember
Mhm.
those that affected us. And we want to live our lives in such a way that, one thing came to mind, Miss Shirley, when you were speaking, and you said she led by her experience. And I think about the term where they talk about leaders and how leaders leave clues,
Mhm.
you know, how to make it through. When they
Mhm.
and you watch somebody's life that you admire, that you look up to, you go sometimes like I've heard it said here, it's not so much what they said,
It's
but you
how they
watch
live
how they
there.
live,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
those nuggets, those unspoken nuggets are really powerful. And
Mhm.
I want my life to be full of those kind of nuggets that people can watch as well as hear what I have to say and take the wisdom, take the nuggets, take what works, can work for you. That
Mhm.
I'm leaving some clues because we all there's gonna come a day when we have to meet our maker. We don't get to stay forever.
Yeah.
We don't get to stay forever. We all have
Mhm.
an appointed day. When you leave, you want your name to not just go poof, you know.
Mhm.
You'll have those women that have been in the widow situations for years to come, and people will be saying, I met this lady named Nita, and man, she really help me through. Oh my God, I learned this. You know what? You can still get that survival guide out there on Amazon right now today. I learned about abuse that I don't have to take it. That there's life after divorce. I can
Mhm.
make it because I was the story about Shirley, and it sounds so similar to my own. That's the other thing that we don't think about. Our stories are so similar to so many other people.
Mhm. Yes.
So yes, we leave clues. And then you have like Miss Lori, and she was talking about how divorce just impacted her and probably in a way that you didn't even think, oh my God, it affected me that deeply that I had to be hospitalized. But then in the end, I want to live. I want to
Yes.
live for my children, and I'm going to live and I'm going to live a great life.
Amen.
Yes.
And God has just blossomed it into this family that is just such a blessing. And so with that, I want to say thank you to each one. I want to say we're going to have an opportunity to just say your final words for tonight about this Women's History Month. Whatever comes to mind that you want to share as an inspiration, as a word of wisdom, some inspiration or whatever that comes to mind. And so with that, we take one by one, and I get to choose. I get to choose this time, and then and then so as you do, then we're going to have the next one come up. And ladies, don't leave the studio before we've all had our turns, and then we'll We'll close it out then, okay? So I'm going to just break this down. And so let's see. Hi. I'm going to remove. Who's going to be removed? Ha ha ha. Who's going to be left behind?
Lori is. Oh, who wasn't Lori?
Yay, Miss Nita. So for your final words that you would like to leave with the people, this is your opportunity to do that.
Okay, well, I think because I'm starting a new thing next week on my Facebook page called Recap Celebration Recap, because life is hard. There's a lot of challenges. And so each day, look for and find something that you can celebrate. And I will be doing it on my Facebook page, but you don't have to go to my Facebook page. Just make sure that every day you find something you can celebrate, no matter what challenge you're facing, and it will help you face whatever challenge the next day brings. And that's really all I have to say, Hillary. Thank you. Or maybe I'm going to keep talking because she just left me here. She left me in the room with all the toys, and I get to play with all of them. So, yeah, look for the challenge. You don't have to look for the challenge. You will find the challenge, but look for the celebration in life. And if you're a widow and you want some help, you want to talk to me, go to the Facebook page, Unshackled Life. And if you just want to read the book, go get Beyond the Grief. There you go, Hillary. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay. So I thank you so much for accepting my invitation, and I appreciate you so much. And just will be lifting you up in prayer and what you're doing and the new things that you're embarking upon. Great success to you and all that your hands are made to touch. And again, if you want to join, this is Nita Bashir. And so you can find her under this name, right? For the challenge or for the recap and the celebration recap with Nita Bashir. So thank you so much, and I'll see you back in the studio. Who's next? Who's next? There she is, Miss Lori. You can go ahead at this time and have your final words of wisdom,
Okay.
inspiration, encouragement.
All right, Hillary. First of all, I want to say thanks a million for females, and thank you so much. God bless you and your loved ones. Well, the scripture that came to me was Romans 8:28. All things work together for the good for those who love God and who are the called according to his purpose. In other words, no matter what comes down the pike, God will help you out to make it turn out to his glory. And whenever we glorify him, it's always good. It'll always turn out for the good, as he did with me. It looked like it was the most devastating thing, but he brought me out of it. And my children are grown. I have grandchildren and great grandchildren. So as it was said earlier, life goes on, and it's your choice in life to have it be a blessing to people. And the Bible talks about our tongue. We can either be a blessing or a cursing. So it really matters. It says whatever comes out of our mouth comes from our heart. So we need to speak kindness. There's the fruit of the spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, goodness, kindness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. So we really need to have the word in our hearts, because the Bible says, thy word have I kept in my heart, that I may not sin against thee. So as we live through our lives, we can be victorious, because greater is he that's in us than he that's in the world. So whatever comes down to the pike to us, we can overcome, because he said in his words, we are more than conquerors. And celebrating women this month, there's so many other women that we have met, that we are going to meet in the future, and we are so blessed to just wrap our arms around one another. as you have done with us, Hillary, today. I thank you so much for introducing me to these two wonderful women, Shirley and Nita. And I thank everyone for joining and chiming in with us. We hope you are blessed. We hope that something has resonated with you and that will carry you through the rest of your life. God bless you and your loved ones. I love you.
Thank you so much, Miss Lori. I just feel such a kindred spirit, heart to heart. And I thank you for everything that you shared on today. Blessings to your family, blessings to everything that you do in this life. As you leave clues, leave those nuggets, that other people will be able to use for generations to come. Thank you so much. I'll
You're
see you in the
welcome.
studio. Uh, And so we have one final person, and she's on fourth, Miss Patterson, Miss Shirley. And I'm going to give her the stage so that she can have her final words of wisdom, inspiration, encouragement to all that are listening.
I just first and foremost, I want to say thank you for having me on and thank you for introducing me to the other beautiful women, Rita and Lori. I really appreciate it. Um, the thing I would leave you with is just know that there is life after divorce and know that you can begin again. And if you are still going through any struggles or, in your life, find groups like this that will help you get strengthened and grow. And that's, what I would leave with the audience on tonight.
Well, I thank you as well. And I just wanted to put that comment up there because it's really a powerful comment. It seems it's just one, two, three, four, five little words. There is life after divorce. And it's
Mhm.
powerful for those that are going through to
Mhm.
know that there is life after divorce. There's something they can still hope for that's
Mhm.
good. And so I thank you for all that has brought you through in order for you to leave those nuggets, those
Yes.
clues. He's giving you clues for the women, for the children, for how the women can deal with their children during this time. And so
Yes.
I'm just thankful that you're getting it out there and you're moving in that superpower. And so I look to see great things happening with you and for you. And so again, I thank you for accepting this invitation and for coming on and just making this the most powerful show. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Amen.
I'll see you in the studio. And so those are my guests on today. This was the final episode for Women's History Month that comes every year for the month of March in the United States. On March 8th, every year is the celebration of International Women's Day. And so we have next year to look forward to. But in the meantime, in between time, we want to live our lives. This is what I've got the most out of this group of ladies is that our lives leave clues. It's not necessarily about the things that you say, but it's how you actually live your life, how you go about having your being, just being you, leaves clues and points the way for others that may be going through some of the very same things that you're going through. People are watching your lives when you don't even know that they're doing that. And so you want to live out loud. You want to live out loud and give God all the glory in what you do in this life, knowing that it's not just about you. There are so many people that will need to know the way that you've come through so that they can make it through that same way. They've down the road from where you've already come from. So thank you for joining us this month that we've celebrated this Women's History Month, and we will have Let's Get Acquainted next month is here on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you think you would like to be on, just to come on and share about your life and what you're doing and how you're making a difference in this world, you can reach out to me through direct message, and I'll be glad to see if it'd be a good fit have you to come on. And so that would be great. Also, I have another show that comes on every Tuesday. That is the Vibrant Good Health Show, where I talk about all things that will help you, to help your body help you live a more vibrant life, doing those things that are easy, natural, and drug free, so that you can have more vibrant health and therefore a more vibrant life. And that's every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on Facebook under Hillary Gooden. You can find me. So if you're not a friend of mine, or if you haven't followed me, make sure that you do that. It also comes on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube watching this and you haven't subscribed, make sure that you subscribe to my channel, as well as hit that notification button, so that when the broadcast comes on, you will be notified. Be glad to have you there. So thank you again. I'm going to say thank you to all my guests that were on tonight, and I thank you. I want to shout you out, replay viewers, for watching and coming in as well. You all have a great night.